So, for the first time in cricket history, South Africa has lost to Afghanistan in an ODI. I can't say we didn't entirely expect it. We were optimistic, but Rob Walters and his team have been doing some nonsense in recent times. Combs, I can see your face there. You look like you are ready to tell us how upset you are. What did you make of it?
I try to follow the game. There was some big talk before the game. New surface laid. Polly came out and said, you need 300 here to, bat Afghanistan out the game. And, if you look at the final score, they probably needed 300 to win comfortably. I think for me, they just came out and it was brainless tactics. It got painful at one point, in the 10th over to be like 7 wickets down. Poor Rashid Khan thought he wasn't going to get a wicket in this game because he didn't get to bowl as yet. And yeah, it was absolute brainless cricket. I think Mulder showed, as well as the Afghanistan batters, showed what was needed on a surface like that. It wasn't impossible to play there. It just needed the 50 over mentality where you come in, you know what's up in front of you, and not try and go for big shots when they're not needed.
Yeah, I agree. I think South Africans let us down today, but it just shows the inexperience in the batting lineup. And the most experienced batter there was Eden Markram, and it shows how important form is in a team. If you're the experienced campaigner, I think if he was in good form, I think he probably would have shepherded the team a bit better, given guys a bit more advice. But when you're focusing completely on your own game, trying to score runs by us, struggling to score runs, and every sort of waking minute you're just thinking about where's my next run coming from, how am I going to score? You kind of lose track of that sort of mentorship that you need to give our young players. And I think that's what the whole point of this tour was initially for the South African team, was give the young guys an opportunity. We did say last week that we felt that they set up the batting lineup a bit better with more experienced names, and probably let themselves down by not picking more experienced bowlers. But even with the experienced batter, with Markham not in form, he didn't have a chance to sort of help the other guys through the game and show them what's needed. Disappointing. They'll have another couple of chances, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, no, I 100% echo your sentiments there. We questioned the squad. I then now question the starting 11. I think the wrong Andile was there. At least give him a chance. Give Simolane a chance. I mean,
Yeah.
in the bowling attack on a slow wicket, you think he would be a bit effective, but he only came on in like the 23rd over or something like that. And that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, credit to Afghanistan. They're a great white ball team. I don't know if it was a lack of respect on South Africa's part. We know what Fazalak Faruqi can do, and he did exactly what he did in the T20 World Cup. Took wickets up front. When Rashid Khan came in, tightened things up in the middle order. If it wasn't for Mulder, I mean, that was a score of sub 60.
Yeah. At
On
30 or
the
something for 7, it was looking very scary. Like, I'll be honest with you, I thought 50 all out.
yeah,
Yeah, even me.
even
It
on
was
the
shocking.
in the bowling innings, I mean, you can't look too much into the bowling innings because they didn't have enough to play with. I
Yeah.
know Polly and Vern were on commentary and they were like, "Oh, they're surprised with the intensity that South Africa was showing." I don't think it was intensity. I just think it was Afghanistan. They seemed to struggle in the start of the innings, but I
Yeah.
think that's more because they were going against what their natural game is. When they were trying to take on the bowlers, the game could have been done in 15, 20 overs. But because they knew they were chasing such a low score, they were batting very uncharacteristically, and that gave South Africa an opening. I also question Markram's captaincy a bit. There was a sniff in the game when he took that wicket. Why bowl yourself another over? Hazmat then just took him for a ride. You could see that Hazmat was lining him up. Markram to right-handers is a different bowler than Markram to left-handers. So once he got the wicket, why bowl another over? The only chance South Africa were going to win that game is if they bowled Afghanistan out. And I think once they had a little bit of a sniff, I think Markram's captaincy led them back into the game because he continued with spin and then brought Nandre in. Then Nandre got pumped for 2 sixes. So his bowling changes in that middle period, I don't think were great. It just seemed as if these guys wanted to play a 20 over game and not a 50 over game because of the weather. They were, I mean, 14 putting up with cramp in such a short game. I mean,
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
37 degrees.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was
No, no, no.
blistering hot
Granted,
there.
it's tough conditions, but I mean, these are your national players. You can't be
Oh
pulling
yes,
up
no,
a cramp
100%.
in
No,
such a short game.
no
Come on.
excuse, no excuse for the performances. All. I come back to what you said there about Andile not being good at the ball. What about his wicket? That was schoolboy stuff. Where was he
Yeah.
going? Took a walk out
Nah,
the
it's,
crease
it's
there.
ridiculous.
Nonsense. Markram, the worrying thing about what happened today with the wicket again is it's the same type of dismissal repeatedly in Test cricket, in T20 cricket, and in ODI cricket, getting caught by lunging outside the off stump. We've been giving a lot of players kind of rest time and breaks away from international cricket. I think it might be worth giving Aiden a little bit of time to go back and work on his game, just technique wise. Because he's obviously found something of a deficit in terms of his own technique that is resulting in the same type of dismissal repeatedly. And I think maybe just a little bit of a change with his stance or how he goes about his business in terms of focusing on lines to leave
Mm.
probably be better for us in more
Hashtag,
formats.
hashtag came back.
Hashtag hashtag hash. Because we saw this Zashi Wamla some years ago when it just looked like something wasn't clicking. And then it came right. Whether he needs to consult a personal batting mentor or coach, like a Mike Hussey or something of the sorts. Someone to just come in there and go, look, let's show up your technique here. You've got a little bit of an issue. Small things and see how it goes because it's playing him repeatedly in international cricket and him failing in the same way. I don't think it's helping him. I think it's actually hurting because he's getting into a real rut now.
No, I agree. I think he's also just a victim of the modern game, right? So you've got your international obligations, and you go and tour around on these T20 tours. Not a lot of them sort of go back now and play sort of a whole season of county cricket or play domestic first class cricket. And it's there where you probably hone and sort of learn what kind of batsman you are, what your technique should be like, how to score runs. I mean, you can be as talented as you want, but there's still, I think, an art to learning how to score those runs, And when you're constantly touring, how much time do you actually have to sit down with a sort of dedicated coach, whether it's your own personal coach or the team's batting coach, to say, well, this is an issue that I've been seeing. You've been nicking off a few times, or been getting balls through the gate, or you've been lunging at the ball, just to fix those small sort of things. You just don't have the time, and you don't have the opportunity to sort of put that into practice. And every game that you play is a game where you got to score runs now because you're not going through a county season. You're going to play 3 games in a touring the UAE, and then you've got Ireland and all sorts of stuff, and there's just not enough focus put on his actual game. It's just more, well, I'm going to play as much as I can rather than get better.
Mm.
Yeah, one point you touched on there that I think has to be stressed is every time you listen to T20 coaches like in the IPL or these franchise cricket, they always say it's too short a tournament to coach anyone. These guys know what to do. All we do is just push them in the right direction. So you wonder about these kids that come in, 18, 19, 20, even up to 24. Are they really getting coached? They're playing cricket the whole year round, but they're there for 4 weeks. They're there for 6 weeks. And, it's just play your style. I'm not going to teach you what to do. You're either in the team or out the team.
No, I agree. I think the massive issue is that these things become habits. So because there's no real break away from constant tournament cricket, what initially starts off as a small error in technique, so to say, then becomes your national game. Baba Azam is a very good example. I saw a little clip about how he's changed up his gait or his stance at the stumps, just closed off a little bit. They're talking about how his front foot used to point towards sort of mid off, and he's closed off his stance quite a bit now. He started edging off a lot, to almost compensate for the RBW risk. So it's small things, but as you guys both have said, the problem is time. And I think because we're trying to do new things now, the South African side might be a good time to give Aiden Markram a rest. Unfortunately, Temba's injured, so you don't have a captain yet again. I see Keshav just joined up the CPL as well, so Miller's also there, by the way. So not looking great. Now, going forward, Today was absolutely horrible in terms of the performance, intensity, and everything. We can talk about a lot of things about what went wrong. What do we think is going to happen the rest of the series? Do we come back?
Give the youngsters a chance. They can't do worse than today. Give Similane a chance. Give Peter a chance. I don't know why Rickleton's not in the squad. I'll stress that again. I don't know what Varane adds in white ball cricket. I don't know why he's there. Just to touch on Riza getting T20 player of the season in the back of
Oh yeah, wild.
the actual. So
Yeah.
I mean, give the a chance with this series and in the upcoming Island series. Play a solid young team, and if they get thumped, I doubt it'll be worse than today. So
Yeah, I think for South Africa, I think that obviously you always want to win, and that's what sort of mentality you go in the game with. But I think for them in this series, just to show improvement. Game after game, be better than you were in the last game. Get experience at the top level, and it is the top level. This Afghanistan side is a proper side. They're not sort of the whooping boys of international cricket. They are a good side. They'll beat on their day. They can beat anyone, and they just enjoy the experience. Hopefully they learn a lot and make sure they keep improving. Because I think I was quietly optimistic going into the season, even though I said they would get beat, but I didn't think that gulf was that big. And seeing that after the first game, I think that's all they can sort of work
mm.
towards, just getting better
like
and trying to
if you
compete.
were if you were another international side, I mean, who would you fear more? Afghanistan at this point. So
I agree.
that's the state of it.
I think as much as there will be people, or I'm not even gonna call them people, there'll be trolls online that laugh at the result and all of that. But I think if you're a cricket watching, or you have a history of watching cricket, a good amount of cricket, you'll know that South Africa did not go on face value, played Afghanistan today as the underdogs. I think you could look at a few things like Markram and Stubbs if he's playing well in form, and maybe Nandre Berger, give or take. But the rest of the squad or rest of the side that lined up there today, I don't think we went in as favourites to win that game, because there's real quality in that Afghanistan side, and we've seen it a lot in recent times.
My problem with that argument is, I think we mentioned it last week, where, India will send a B and C side out to go and play smaller teams, and with no disrespect, but when those teams go out there and play, the players in that team want to make a point because they want to knock on the selector's door to be first choice. And I think that's where our boys probably missed the trick by taking Afghanistan for granted today.
I think you spot on with the idea of having sort of development sides. The problem is between India's first 11, second, third, fourth 11, there's small gulfs in class. There's very good players that possibly should be in the first team that are still making the second team. With us, the difference in the best that we have and the next set that we have is so massive. It's shocking, and the problem is we don't do enough of that. We should be playing more of these sides with a second 11, so to say, so that gulf closes. Then when you go into a series like this again, you don't have to play people like Aiden Markram. Even Lungi Ngidi, if he was a starter for the first team, you don't have to play them. You can go in with a completely fresh squad of 15 and say, go knock on the door again, and whoever performs best will be included in the first 15 for the next series. But I don't see much happening. There's 2 games left. Do we win any of them? Do we win the series? Predictions then?
I think 3-0 Afghanistan.
Oof.
Yeah, I agree. I think conditions are perfect for them. They are a banging white ball team at the moment. They are miles ahead of the South African team. And if South Africa doesn't catch a wake up, then 3-0 easy Afghanistan.
I I think 2-1. By definition, inconsistency means sometimes you get it right. So I'm hoping for one performance at least, where 70-80% of the team clicks. So yeah, I'll give South Africa a win, but Afghanistan to still win the series.
I'll go the 2-1 as well. I think we're still going to struggle based on the fact that we're playing at the exact same place. Even if they change which pitch we use, I'm assuming it's going to be roughly similar in terms of conditions. And I think we'll always struggle. They play 4 spinners. South Africa are always going to struggle against that. So that is the thing. But I would like to see one performance.
I think what we'll learn is if South Africa can learn from their mistakes. Because if they go in now and put a similar performance, then what are they learning? I mean, what's the point? If they go with a similar team and they do the same thing, then it's utterly pointless. So that's why I change the team up, give the other guys a chance, and we'll see where we end up before the third game.
Yeah. So I'm going to close off with just one quick question to all of you. If we get smacked 3-0 in the series, should Rob Walters continue as white ball coach?
I think so. I think he should. I
I'll give
think
it to him. I don't think it's necessarily the person. I don't think it's Rob Walters. I mean, he did well in the World Cup, in the T20 World Cup. I think it's more the structure, and we've spoken about this at length. So you should put anybody in that
That's why I
position.
asked the
I mean, what are they
question.
going to do?
That's why I asked the question, though, because remember what we've been saying. Rob Walters is the man when it comes to the structure now. So
Exactly.
he's gonna have to be assigned some of the blame, or do we give him a chance because the Ireland series is so soon after? Let him continue. But the problem with this whole thing is, by the time the Ireland series is done, there's not much cricket before the Champions Trophy. In terms
That's what
of
I was going to
ODI
say. Like, you
cricket.
can't change now. He's got a plan in place. We've got to trust the plan. And if it doesn't work by the end of the Champions Trophy, then maybe consider sacking him then.
Fair enough. So we sounded quite glum here, but naturally, with South African cricket fans, we don't want to see the boys underperform to such an extent. Even though we've said that it's a weak team, you don't expect that level of performance. Nonetheless, Afghanistan played incredibly well. If you are an Afghani fan, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a great day for Afghani cricket. It's the first win against South Africa, a senior member of the ICC. But good stuff, and it's good to see them moving in the right direction, not just in T20. So hopefully in the near future, we'll see some good Afghanistani test cricket as well. Now, this wasn't included in the main episode or the cricket show, as we're now calling it, because we felt like we need to air out some South African laundry there, so to say. Nonetheless, if you did enjoy it, drop us a like, hit the subscribe button, and of course, you can also listen to us on all the audio platforms. Don't forget that this episode is alongside another one, the cricket show, which will be cricket game intense. Quite a few quiz elements going on there, and on this day, yet again. Until the next one, please take care. Don't forget to pour shots, and cheers.